Never in history has a modern military, Iran had a modern military, a modern navy, a modern air force, modern air defenses. Never has a modern military been so rapidly and historically obliterated, defeated, from day one with overwhelming firepower. The air campaign that we've conducted, that Israel's conducted alongside us, was one for the history books, truly. And it's because we have a president of the United States that when he sends his warfighters out to fight, he unties their hands to actually go out and close with and destroy the enemy as viciously as possible from moment one.
Look at this map. Specifically, look at the 21-mile gap between Oman and Iran that controls 20% of the world's oil supply every single day. The Strait of Hormuz. For decades, military strategists called it the world's most dangerous choke point. Iran called it their ace card, their doomsday lever, the geographic insurance policy that kept the regime untouchable. They were wrong. What happened beneath the surface of that water is one of the most underreported operational achievements in the history of naval warfare. Not because it lacked drama, but because the weapon Iran chose was invisible, and the response was so methodical, so devastatingly precise, that by the time the world noticed, the threat was already gone. This is the anatomy of a silent war, and it started with mines. Iran's opening move wasn't missiles, it wasn't drones, it wasn't fast attack boats swarming tankers in broad daylight. The IRGC Navy made a calculated decision to fight a war the world couldn't see. Under the cover of darkness, over a span of days, Iranian naval assets seeded the Strait of Hormuz with large-scale mine warfare. Not dozens, not hundreds, 6,000 naval mines, placed with deliberate precision across the world's most critical energy corridor. Think about what that number means strategically. 6,000 individual decisions a tanker captain has to get right every single time. 6,000 opportunities for a single misstep to send 300,000 tons of crude and crew to the bottom of the Gulf. This wasn't a blockade in the traditional sense. There were no ships holding the line, no guns pointed at passing vessels, just silence, just invisible steel sitting on the seabed, waiting. The global shipping industry froze. Insurance underwriters pulled coverage on Gulf routes overnight. Oil futures spiked before a single drop of blood was shed. The Iranian regime had done exactly what they always promised. They turned the strait into a weapon without firing a single visible shot. This was the forbidden math. For every mine Iran planted at a cost of roughly $15,000, the global economy hemorrhaged billions. It was the Shahed drone playbook applied underwater. Cheap, scalable, asymmetric. Forced the most powerful navy on Earth to spend its strategic budget dismantling lawnmowers bolted to the ocean floor.
Two U.S. officials tell us tonight that Iran has started to take steps to deploy naval mines in the Strait of Hormuz, a choke point through which a fifth of the world's oil flows and a red line for the administration.
But here is where the IRGC's chess game collapsed at the board level. They confused the opening move for the endgame. The U.S. Navy didn't send a press release. It sent the MGM-9 fleet, mine countermeasure vessels. Quiet, unglamorous, not the warships that make highlight reels, but in the context of what Iran had built beneath that water, the MGM-9 wasn't just a ship, it was a surgeon arriving to an operating theater. And the operation it was about to perform would dismantle 6,000 threats one by one, with a patience and precision the IRGC never anticipated. The first phase was silence itself. Unmanned underwater systems slipped off the decks of MGM-9 vessels and descended into the black water. Magnetic signature readers, environmental sonar arrays, the seabed that Iran believed was its hidden fortress began to reveal itself on screens inside climate-controlled command centers. Each anomaly was cataloged, each signal was filtered, analyzed, and cross-referenced. What emerged wasn't just a threat map, it was a complete forensic blueprint of Iran's entire underwater strategy. Every mine cluster, every approach vector, every pattern. The IRGC had spent weeks building an invisible maze. American sensor technology spent hours reading it like an open book. This is the intelligence phase the generals never talk about publicly. Before a single mine was touched, the kill chain already knew exactly where every one of them lived. With the map complete, the operation entered its second phase. And this is where the doctrine of unmanned warfare proved itself at depth. Specialized underwater platforms carrying precision explosive charges were deployed directly from the MGM-9 vessels, moving through zero-visibility water, guided entirely by onboard sensors and real-time command input. These systems approached confirmed mine locations with tolerances measured in centimeters. Charges were placed, coordinates were locked, and then, across predefined sectors simultaneously, the detonation sequence was initiated. Water columns erupted across the strait. Not one explosion, not a single dramatic bang the cameras could capture and broadcast. A continuous chain reaction, systematically collapsing sections of the minefield from the outside in, sector by sector, reducing Iran's 6,000-piece blockade into debris and silt. The math inverted in real time. Every mine Iran planted at $15,000 was being erased at a fraction of the cost of the missiles it was designed to force America to spend. The asymmetric equation the IRGC built its entire strategy around had been flipped. But perfection is not a guarantee at depth. In the seabed's most complex terrain, older mines with degraded acoustic signatures pushed unmanned systems to their operational ceiling. Blurred imagery, unstable return data, targets that refuse to cooperate with sensors. And in those moments, the Doctrine made its final transition from machine to human. Naval EOD divers entered the water. No algorithm, no remote feed, no margin. Just a trained human being descending toward a confirmed explosive device on the floor of one of the most strategically significant bodies of water on Earth. Every movement calculated, every adjustment deliberate. Charges placed by hand, team withdrawal executed precisely. And then, from the surface, the final detonation command. This is the part of modern warfare that technology evangelists quietly skip over. The machine takes you 98% of the way there. The last 2% still belongs to the person who chooses to go into the water anyway. When the MGM-9 fleet moved aside and the U.S. Navy's surface formation advanced through the strait in full coordinated structure, the message wasn't written in smoke or satellite imagery. It was written in the complete absence of detonations beneath the hulls of the first commercial tankers to transit the corridor afterward. 6,000 mines. Gone. Iran's invisible fortress. Dismantled. The Strait of Hormuz, the geographic lever the regime spent 40 years threatening to pull, was now a tightly controlled American maritime corridor. The tankers loaded. The oil moved. The trader screens in London held steady. The regime built a silent weapon and called it checkmate. America sent the MGM-9 fleet and called it Tuesday. The sea is open. The mission is complete.